International to come, Mr. James Patrice has our TV viewing sorted for us, and of course, one of you hopefully will win the wheel today.
I hope so. But now, our next guest has been a towering presence on the world music stage for 60 years and remains one of Ireland's best loved and most iconic music figures. He's about to embark on a nationwide tour again, so we're delighted to welcome back Phil Coulter. Phil, how are you?
Again.
Again. But I just think it's incredible that there's such a desire to have you out the road and all around the country.
Well, that's what's wrong. Well, you know, I love it, and I realise how fortunate I am that I have got a following at this advanced stage in my career, and not to mention my life, that people who still keep turning up. You know, when I do a tour and nobody turns up at the gigs, I think I'll get the memo. You know, maybe should have stopped like years ago. But thanks be to God, we're next week we start off. In fact, we start quite close by Carrigaline gigs us off. Then the National Concert Hall in Dublin, we have the University Concert Hall in Limerick, Cork Opera House, but of course, you know, you get an affection for places as well, you know, and an affection for your audiences. So it's a kind of a two-way thing, you know. When you're performing, you certainly you make the effort to communicate with your audience, but what you get back from them is the energy that keeps you going. You know, like if you walk off stage in the Boardgash Theatre in Dublin to the sound of like a standing ovation, that's going to keep you going for another month, you know, of one-nighters.
Now, do you change the show every year, Phil?
Absolutely. Yeah. Take that very seriously. To refresh it, this year we've got a few new tricks, a few neat bits of, now we have a lot of technology, so we have a big screen, so not only do the songs tell the stories, but then, you know, lovely archive. There's a lovely archive piece, for example, from Luke Kelly, talking about the first time he heard the Scarlet His Simplicity. There's bits from Billy Connolly, bits from Van der Man, all the people that I've had the good fortune to work with. So that sets the songs into context, you know, and that technology, an important part of it all now.
It's funny, because you're such a pro and you're doing it such a long time, I assume people think you just rock up and carry on with it. But of course you put a lot of work in behind the scenes. You're practicing, you're rehearsing, you're making sure you're putting on a show.
Yeah, because the show has to have a shape, you know, it has a beginning, a middle, and end. And I'm very conscious, the last thing I want is for people to come to one of my gigs and say, oh sure, I saw that last year. And we heard that story before. You know, so while on one hand there are songs you have to do. I mean, I would have to do The Town I Love So Well. I'd have to do Ireland's Call. I'd have to do Scarlet His Simplicity. But you fit them in a context and try. I mean, this year, for example, we're doing it all in chronological order. Yeah. So we start with my first hit, which was in 1964. 1964, with Butch Moore and the Capital Showman. Some of your listeners, some of your viewers will remember that. So then we go chronologically through the 60s and the 70s and whatever.
To your latest hit, which was only recent.
A recent hit, I was in the top 5 in the UK. Yeah, I mean, so that means I hit in every decade since the 60s, which is not a bad boast, I suppose.
Tell us about that, it was an unusual one.
In this case, no thanks to me, I had nothing to do with it. You know, normally you have to work hard to get a record on the chart. This fell in my lap. I got a phone call actually from one of my grandkids to say, Pops, your record is top 3 in the what is this? Was this Jade, who was one of Little Mix, one of them trendy pop groups, and she sampled Puppet on the String by Sandy Shaw for the first 8 bars of the record. So therefore, there's Puppet on the String back in the pop charts.
Back there after all these years.
57 years later.
Making Grandad look cool.
You're just back from Edinburgh.
Yes, that was such fun. The 50th celebration of the Bay City Rollers. Shang-a-Lang's 50 years old. Yeah. So there were hundreds of, by now, middle-aged Bay City Roller lady fans from New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, all over America. And so I did like about an hour or so at the piano, telling the story, singing the song. And here's the thing, a couple of days before, and I thought, I better refresh my memory about these Bay City Rollers. And so 50 years ago, and trying to remember the words, I needn't have worried. These ladies knew every single word. Hey, rock it to the music. Going through all of them.
Yeah.
But it was, you know, feel good, #1. Yeah. And the fact that that song, like Shang-a-Lang, for example, 50 years old, and it's still relevant. It's still been, you know, still been played in discos and whatever. That's the trick for a songwriter. You know, if you can endure, if your songs can endure, you know.
Absolutely.
Just recently, I was being interviewed by an American radio host, and he asked me a question I'd never been asked before, which was, he said, Mr. Coulter, can you give me a definition of a great song. I mean, not a long definition with melody and structure, but a short definition. I said, I'll do better than that. I'll give you a one-word definition of a great song. Longevity.
Mm-hmm.
The song's been around for 50 years. It's de facto a great song. That's why this crop of TikTok songs, they're not going to be around in 50 years. They're going to be around in 50 days.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's something missing from the music? Because even going through all the songs that you've been part of, and I suppose even the music of the 70s, 80s, and 90s, there was always a kind of a fun. There was a bit of madness there. I think we've lost a small bit of that, Phil, haven't we?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because there's no instant gratification for a start. You know, it used to be, in simple terms, like you have to learn the craft of songwriting. You start with a 4-bar intro, then you've got a verse, and then you work up to the chorus. And an intro is critically important, like pop it on the string, go up, cheap, up, cheap, up, cheap, up. So that sets a kind of an atmosphere. Then you get a verse, and then you build up to your chorus. The current crop of TikTok songs don't have an intro, don't have a verse. They start with a hook.
Mm-hmm.
So because why? Because the kids are consuming it, haven't got the patience.
Yeah,
wait
30 seconds gone.
Yeah, it's straight enough. But that means there's no structure to the song.
Yeah,
So it's instant gratification. So those kind of songs are never going to endure. You know, that's not. Look, I'm not dismissing like a generation of songwriters. There's still some great songwriters, some great talent out there. But the whole songwriting thing, I would have reservations about.
It's an innate skill to have, really, and I assume it's something that you're still working away at all the time. Something like you're up and you're writing and inspired all the time, right?
It might be an innate skill. Because you have to be born with some of the tools. You have to have flair for music, maybe a flair for language, whatever. But it's a craft that you have to learn, you know. And it is a craft. I mean, I spent 4 years in Tin Pan Alley, Denmark Street in London, where the deal was every second Friday we went into the little studio to demo 6 new songs. 6 new songs. Words, music, and arrangement for the Little House Band. Then the following Monday, our publisher would listen to the songs, critique them, and as often as not throw them in the bin. Cruel? Yes, it's cruel, but that's how you learn.
Yeah.
Were any of them any good, and you kind of took them back out and you brought them on the road with you?
Well, I wish. I mean, some that were savable, you know,
Savable.
you know, those kind of songs, the songs that every songwriter's ambition has songs that endure. I mean, Chris Christopherson, late of this party, God rest his soul. That's a proper songwriter. Those songs have been around, and will be around. You know. For the good times, me and Bobby McGee, they're just classic songs. They're the kind of songs that every songwriter aspires to write.
Is there any song, out of all the stuff you've written, is there any song or tune or score, and you listen to it and you say, oh, I wish I wrote that?
He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother. That's a song I wish I'd written, yeah. A Bridge Over Troubled Water would be another. There are a few that you say, just perfectly crafted songs.
Yes.
You know, that's, you always aspire, even at this advanced stage, you always aspire to get, there's a kind of holy grail, you're always trying to get the perfect song. And here's the thing, that somebody at my stage should be able to produce a well-crafted song. Not every song is going to be a hit.
Yeah.
But shame on me if it's not a well-crafted song, you know.
Yeah.
You know. And that's, again, when the upcoming tour, that's part of the thrill for me, is the sharing those songs. I remember, for example, when Scarlet His Simplicity was an idea, you know, and then to take it through the idea, you finish the song, work it with Luke Kelly, and then produce it in the studio, and then all these years later, to breathe life back in that song and hear the response it has from an audience. Those are the kind of things that on the road, give you great, it's a great thrill.
Does the buzz ever die down for you?
No, as long as people keep turning up to the gigs, I'll be there. Thanks be to God. There are 2 things over which I have no control. One is my health. Thank you, God, I've had no health issues. And secondly, people keep turning up. When my health goes, I know that I have to stop. When they stop turning up, I know they should have maybe stopped a wee while ago. But thanks be to God. So far I got away with it.
You came together with a Ukrainian choir. We'll listen to it in a second, but how did this happen, Phil?
I got word from one of those agencies that kind of settle the Ukrainians in Cavan. They had adopted Steal Away because I wrote the song about the troubles in the north of Ireland all those years ago, stealing away from the desolation, etc. And the Ukrainians had gravitated to the song and picked it up as something they could relate to. So they had it translated into Ukrainian and recorded it with this 40-piece choir of Ukrainians, taken from north, south, east, and west. It was, I have to tell you, one of the most heartwarming projects I have ever been around. Just to see the light in their eyes, you know, as they came together from, you know, the ladies getting on a bus at 4 a.m. in the morning to come up for the rehearsals in Dublin, coming down from Donegal and wherever, and just for once in their rather kind of, you know, sad existence, leaving all their families behind, here was something that was different. It was light in a darkness for them, you know. So it was a joy to be part of it, and to hear "Steal Away," "Dawaj fejdźciem, dawaj no fejdźciem" in Ukrainian. It's just
We can have a look and a listen.
have we? Z тобою почнем, давай потихеньку летим.
That was beautiful. Phil, you have to steal away now because you have to sing a song for us. Is that okay?
There's no such thing as a free lunch.
Off you go, Phil.
Thank you so
Great to chat to you.
Thank
All of
you.
our Father, I
Can't
was
wait to
saying,
see you next year.
thank God that this is my life for us. But Phil will be back on the road again, starting his tour on Thursday, the 24th of October, in the Carrigaline Court Hotel here in Cork. And for all the dates, check out philcoulter.com. Now, Phil, off you go.
I've lived and I've loved, and I've had my fair romances, taken all that life can give, and taken my fair share of chances. I've known just how it is to win, and I've felt the pain of losing. Some paths I chose would end in tears, but they were all of my choosing. It's been a good life, far from a high life, and I thank God that this was my life. Some days I prayed would never end,